It is Wednesday, the 11th day of April 2018. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight. We are coming to you live from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. My name is Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma. And I'm Patricia Lokoma. You have done a great job joining us on News Tonight. And of course, some of the stories that we are having for you this evening, Nebi accident victims have actually been airlifted to Kampala. And we shall also be crossing borders, and you see a plane crash that has killed about 257 people in Algeria. And also we shall be having sports, and the big story is Barcelona being ejected yesterday. And not to forget, Kija, we do have something on contraband goods. Apparently, Uganda Revenue Authority has impounded contraband goods and arrested 3 suspects. That and more will be coming your way in this bulletin. But first, let's have the news in detail. Now, State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kuyuchinyi, has lauded President Yoweri Museveni and the Chief of Defence Forces, General David Muhoozi, for airlifting the Nebi accident victims for further treatment. Orange Senior Secondary School students were on Tuesday involved in a fatal accident when their truck from Goli and bound for Nebi lost control, killing 3 and leaving many injured. We have more on that in this report.
Has been directed by His Excellency the President. Yesterday in the morning at about 10, the students of Oringi SS in Nebi district had an accident. They were traveling from Goli to Nebi for music and drama festival, and on the way they had a fatal accident. 3 students died, and the plane has just brought in 3 students also. We have 26 students and a teacher in hospital in Nebi as I speak. 4 of them with fractures of the legs and the arm. But these ones who have been airlifted by His Excellency the President have head injuries which could not be managed in Nebi hospital. So yesterday it was a little late, and the CDF was kind enough to send this aircraft very early in the morning. It has brought the 3 families and the 3 students who have been driven now to Mengo Hospital, and they will be treated on UPDF account. And I think we should appreciate the President very much for that. The 3 who have died, one comes from Aleptong district. She was living with a brother who is a medical personnel in Nebi district, and 2 come from Nebi district. And as I talk now, there are arrangements to transport the dead bodies to the various families in Nebi town now. So that, in brief, that is what has happened. The First Lady, the cause I haven't really established yet, but the fact that they were traveling in an open tipper, I think, was not good enough. The First Lady has also condemned the accident and is commiserating with the families of the bereaved. She has offered 15 million shillings for me to take to the families of the bereaved.
State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kuyuchinyi, of course, they are talking about those children who are being airlifted, who have actually been airlifted to Kampala for further treatment, and of course that one is after the fatal accident that happened in Nebi. Now, moving on, a group of concerned citizens in Mbale have staged a demonstration around town in support of the ongoing constitutional court proceedings sitting in Mbale. Now, they carried placards encouraging the judges to stick to impartiality and maintain the integrity of the judiciary. The group wants court to make a fair, just and independent judgment. Now, the court is sitting in Mbale to hear 5 consolidated petitions challenging the legality of amending the constitution to remove the presidential age limit and to increase the term of office of members of parliament. Now on to the agriculture sector, where maize and sorghum gardens are under fall armyworms again, just a year after they posed a similar threat. Now, the fall armyworms attacked several gardens across the country in 2017, leading to poor yields, as we hear in this report.
Fall armyworms have descended on maize and sorghum gardens again, a year after they destroyed big acreage of maize across the country. Farmers reportedly lost big acreage of maize gardens. That was aggravated by use of fake chemicals as they sprayed their gardens. These are maize farmers spraying their gardens which have been attacked by the maize worms in the district of Mityana. This is the second time maize worms are attacking farmers, following last year when farmers used fake drugs to spray their gardens. They, however, ended up losing their crop. The director, Mityana Agrovet Institute, John Chintu, is now encouraging government to organize maize farmers with a view of sensitizing them on how to fight the maize worms. Chintu made the remarks during a press conference at the 150 maize acres plantation for the institute, which was attacked by the maize worms in Chiwanda, Kachindu, in Mityana district.
This one must be done from sub-county levels up to the district levels, because the agriculture extensions from the districts are the one to go spreading the gospel to our farmers that the spraying must be done at the early stage in order to overcome the problem of pest in our maize garden.
Farmers who have already started spraying their gardens are being advised to apply chemicals only approved by Ministry of Agriculture, which include Rocket, Dustband, Tafuga, Dimes Shot, among others.
Under systemic insecticides, we have we have insecticide like Rocket, we have Marathon, we have Ethiot, we have Dutethiot, and there are many at the market. So I encourage my fellow farmers, whenever you go to the shop, you ask for systemic insecticide. There are many that.
Farmers are being advised to use this rainy season to plant other quick maturing plants like beans, rice, greens, cassava, Irish potato, among others, to fight poverty and famine.
Farmers, of course, they are being affected once again by the fall armyworm. Of course, maize gardens being the most prone to that. We'll now take a short break, but we shall return with much more. Do stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight. I am Edward Rukidi Kijanagom, and a warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, has asked African governments to invest more in skilling youth. Now, while speaking at the annual investment conference in Dubai, Kadaga stressed the need to increase investment through skilling the youth.
So, this is the way to handle.
One of the other areas that came out from the team from Kazakhstan is that skilled human resource is a key driver of investments. So I think that as Africans, we need to really invest in our people, especially in the right skills, so that the skills also attract investments into our country. So it's a big challenge for the less developed countries.
Speaker Rebecca Kadaga, they of course gunning for investing in youth if Uganda has to be skilled. Now let's go to Mbale, where petitioners have made divergent submissions to the Constitutional Court sitting in Mbale. Now, the third day of hearing of the Consolidated Constitutional Court petitions against the Age Limit Amendment Act has registered divergent observations from submissions of the petitioners. Now, Council's areas Lukwago, James Byamkama and Dan Ogalo relied on the absence of a certificate of financial implication to pray for invalidation of extension of term of members of parliament. But petitioner Male Mabirizi Kiwanuka has told court that the said second certificate was produced before Parliament. Mabirizi based his submission on excerpts from the Parliament Hansard. Now, the law requires any member with a private bill to produce a certificate of financial implication before enactment. Although Rafael Majezi obtained one, the petitioners claim it was only limited to amendment of Article 102B, yet 2 other articles were added on to the amendment. Now, this is one of their grounds for challenging the legality of the 2017 constitutional amendment to remove the lower and upper age limit cap and to increase the term of members of parliament from 5 to 7 years. Yeah, that's what's happening in Imbala, and of course here on UBC TV we've been updating you on a daily basis in as far as what's happening there is concerned. Now, an estimated 3.1 million people staying within a radius of 197 square kilometers of Kampala enter the city daily, with more than 2.5 million of these being from Greater Kampala. Now, majority descend on the central business district on bicycles, some on motorcycles, others by commuter taxis, private and public cars, including buses, and some on foot. And of course, that one causes traffic jam in Kampala. Now, in this report, our reporter Hilda Mutonyi expounds more on what traffic jams in Kampala are all about.
The word traffic is synonymous with mass movement of human beings, livestock, motor vehicles, motorcycles, bicycles competing for space on roads. In Kampala, an estimated 50% of the people walk, while others ride on bicycles, motorcycles, or by car, commuter taxis, and buses to the central business district. A number of people traveling to Kampala and its environs often experience heavy traffic jams. During rush hours, traffic police has a tendency of controlling and directing traffic along Entebbe Road or Clock Tower, which affects the inflow.
First of all, our mandate in town is to ensure there is traffic regulation. At least there is normal flow within town. So when do we divert? We divert when we see that there is blockage on this side. We feel that if we divert here, then we may experience proper flow of traffic. For example, on Entebbe Road, which is dual, you find some vehicles are supposed to be going up, others going down, mainly evening hours.
The Traffic and Road Safety Act, 1998, Cap 361, Section 142, Subsection B, mandates any police officer in uniform to temporarily divert a section of traffic.
If a traffic officer is there and he signals you to keep right instead of left, then his advice takes precedence. If he's not there, then you follow what is supposed to be followed.
There is a tendency for pedestrians and motorists to scramble for the available narrow roads, leading to these unfavorable traffic jams. This traffic congestion does not favor early travelers, especially people working in offices. Those residing in Entebbe and Mukono and work in Kampala have to wake up by 5 a.m. in order to catch up with working hours at their workplaces, normally by 8 a.m. The country's city roads date back to the colonial times and during the early days of independence. The population was small. Personal cars belonged to a chosen few. Pickups were used as public transport. Uganda's population has risen to over 35 million, albeit proportional infrastructure to accommodate the increased population. However, with proposed infrastructure, expansion augment by flyovers and bypasses There is hope at the end of the tunnel. According to experts from Kampala City Council Authority, the mode of transport in the city is the main cause of congestion.
We are using very inefficient means, motorized means. We are using a taxi of 14-seater. Maybe we can use bigger vehicles because we have space which is limited, or it is the space is just you won't say that the space that is there, the road space, is going to change. So we just have to use it efficiently.
Schools within the city contribute to the level of traffic jams in the city, with each parent driving in with their children. In fact, some parents have 2 cars, theirs and one for dropping the children at school, exacerbating the traffic flow. Introducing new modes of transport could save the situation. One taxi is mandated to carry 14 passengers. If it were buses that take 80 people, it would eliminate about 5 taxis off the road and 70 to 80 border borders. But trains and trams would even be far better.
It means that if you're moving towards decongesting, you need to look at having a service that is runs on time, it is friendly, it is of high quality, so that you can attract even those people in their private cars.
Heavy goods vehicles are not restricted to enter the city. They move in anytime, slowing down traffic and sometimes blocking a section of the road. In its mandate, KCCA plans to draft strict statutory instruments that will limit heavy vehicles in the city. Elsewhere, in Congo, China, and the Western world, the road design has 4 lanes. Buses, taxis, motorcycles, and pedestrians have their lane. If implemented here, such could save us from the jam.
We need maybe flyovers to have easy flow of traffic. It's not proper, but sometimes it's inevitable. So sometimes when there are visitors, traffic officers can divert traffic.
On Entebbe Road, the same thing happens. They are so jammed, you can take 3 hours to reach Entebbe, yet it would take less than 1 hour.
It's only during public holidays and some weekends when there is hardly any traffic jam. On such days, Kampala is empty. Vehicles on road can be counted. Uganda National Roads Authority is expanding Northern Bypass and prohibits heavy trucks from using the Central Business District roads. The flyover in Chebando and Bweyogerere could be necessary in the city to regulate traffic. A pedestrian walkway is under construction to prevent people from accidents.
We have had so many accidents, for example, on Sapporo Kagwa. We recently had an accident on Chagwe Road. These kind of roads should not be allowed for vehicles that are really heavy to go on, because they can cause a lot of damage.
Once the proposed plan is implemented, the city will probably realize organized traffic, which is an essential element of development. Mutonyi Hilda, UBC News.
Thanks, Hilda, of course, highlighting there the causes of traffic jam and what government and especially KCCA can do to avert that. Now let's shift gears and turn our attention to the health sector, where inadequate number of health workers and lack of equipment in health facilities is reportedly partly responsible for the maternal mortality ratio in the country. According to Professor Ben Tuinomjisha, government needs to trace and implement root causes of maternal mortality. Our reporter Susan Naonga gives us more.
Valente Nziku is a single father of 3 who lost his wife 8 years ago. With emotions, Nziku narrates how he lost his wife at Arua Hospital as he watched an incident that left an indelible mark on his life.
It was from the morning up to the evening when he was not attended to by the nurses. Now from there, I was called from the family, from the village, to come and help. When I reached there, I found the nurses and the midwives were there, but they were not attending to her. But the attendant was there. And then what the midwives said was they don't have equipment for delivery. So delivery kit, I went out in the clinics, I bought these delivery kits with some items which are supposed to be needed for the safe delivery. So I bought them, but these people would not help until when it was reaching late, around 10 p.m. at night. That was when the conditions worsened. My wife called me, and then I ended up the labors like this, and then said, it is now over. I should look after the children. So that was the end. She died.
23-year-old Sarah Kasubo is a woman with a hearing impairment, but also a fistula victim who was defiled by her brother-in-law at just 17 years. During delivery, Sarah was neglected by health workers at a health center in Iganga district, lost her baby before delivery, compelling the nurse to pull out the baby, leading to uterine tear.
Nti omwana afudde naye kati kye tuba tukola tunoonye engeri etaasa omukulu kuba y'omwana amaze okola ki okufa n'akwata omwana n'amusika kati mu kumusika ndowooza ono we yafunira ki obuzibu.
During the commemoration of the International Health and Rights, a call was made to increase the health budget, train and recruit more qualified health workers to ensure quality health services.
Talking about equipping the theatres, because you cannot deliver when there is specific equipment lacking, and you cannot confirm what is it that we are doing. Involving the men, what are the men doing? Are you going for pork when you are supposed to be taking a mother to hospital? Those are the questions.
Yeah. One midwife handling a group of mothers. One midwife in a cubicle of mothers, like 20 of them, and 5 of them are pushing at the same time. What do you expect this midwife to do? She has to first handle the ones which are so critical, and then before she comes to those ones who are less critical. We have an incident where you can get a mother pushing, and the midwife cannot really handle. She's still working on another case.
Professor Ben Trino Mujisha, the Executive Director, Center for Human Rights and Development, says government needs to adopt strategies to reduce maternal mortality rate, like family planning and legal abortions.
We have highly skilled, trained doctors here, midwives and nurses, but because the remuneration and the working conditions are not suitable for them to be here. Low funding for healthcare, inequitable gender relations, and negative customer practices.
Members of Parliament, in partnership with the civil society organizations, have now proposed to convene an annual multi-sectoral dialogue on maternal health with an objective of tracing and addressing maternal mortality challenges. Susan Naonga reporting.
Now, residents of Bulindi Chabiteke village in Chabi Gambire sub-county, Hoima district, want government to intervene in the pool of over 9 acres of land. Now, the alleged land belongs to the now deceased Bikanga, managed by his son. Now, the 9 acres were cordoned off by Ayesiga Robert and destroyed property that annoyed the residents.
Anja kino kya kitange ayakitulekera kakati tuli wana abantu bajja ne bagula kakati abantu bone ekyalo kyonna kikoze kiri bulungi abantu bajja ne batugula engineer Robert yaguze bagenda mu maaso n'okututiisatiisa batwale ettaka lyaffe kyandibadde kirungi gavumenti tuyambe ng'abantu tebana bakutingana abaana nyina bana enfuuzi tulime ettaka linu nituteekamu ebikyoli ntukola kino ati do mugega ziyaligura mugega isiga Robert ati musengenge tutwina hali tukusaku ya school fees abana bali nfuuzi ati ndwira maju
tukura kusasa kwa amani habo kwokebo nju yaitu no gitindura nkabantaloho nkaga kusanga nju yange bagitindura batwale bintu nkasanga nibasombe bintu munyaziye kunaka kugamba kiki habo kikiroho kutindura nju yange kiki bakanyirukiza nebisoni benda kuntema bangama nere nju yenyini nayo bajja kujja bagitindule
hati nyo nga chairperson LC wano wa Kihoro kya Biteke kya Bigambire sub county Hoima district nkusaba President Museveni n'abandi abakwatwawo baije batuyamba kuba inginiya yesiga ayina ekichweka kyeyaguzire yitwa ba LC1 tutakyetegereze kandi tutataireho omukono.
Residents of Bulindi Chabiteke there in Hoima, of course, they are saying as far as the land that they have been living on is concerned, of course, it is being taken over by people, and they feel it shouldn't be the case. We're now going to take a short break, but before that, Patricia is going to join me with business. Patricia, what do you have in tonight's bulletin as far as business is concerned?
Quite interesting there, Kija. It looks like investigations are underway about some contraband goods, especially the cigarettes.
It is still happening in the country.
Yeah, exactly. The Supermarch cigarettes, valued at over 1.6 billion shillings, have been impounded by Uganda Revenue Authority.
Actually, talking about contraband, and you have to be very careful, especially women, because it is said that there is counterfeit cooking oil in the country.
Well, and at the same time we have an Indian umbrella that is really geared towards fighting or eradicating poverty. So they are moving through different institutions and helping them, training them to understand how better they can eradicate poverty. On the international scene, we do have an apology from CEO. Facebook. You know about that. It has gone viral.
Of course, those stories and much more coming up next after this short break with Patricia Lukoma.
Stay with us. Thank you very much for sticking it with UBC TV, where we tend to inspire and entertain straight away. In business, we start off with contraband goods being impounded, and of course contraband goods are arrested and contraband goods have been impounded, and some of the suspects have been arrested. In particular, some 3 suspects have been arrested. Now, the illegal Supermarch cigarettes valued at over 1.6 billion are from the neighboring Kenya. Vincent Seruma, the Assistant Commissioner of Public and Corporate Affairs, URA, says that smugglers will be presented to court after conclusion of investigations. Now, meanwhile, Simon Mohumuza, an impersonator claiming to be in position to offer jobs at URA, has also been arrested and will also face the long arm of the law.
Said is 2.5 billions in terms of revenue that has been foregone as a result of the smuggling. Okay. And we recover it from the places of Busia, Malaba, Ruakaka, and in the north. Yeah. Cigarettes which have gone through proper means in URA will have a tax stamp. Of course, the tax stamp is applied for from URA, and the manufacturer fixes that stamp on top here. It will probably be a replacement of what you see here. Now this shows you that it's not legitimate because it doesn't have the URA authorized tax stamp. The punishment for the smuggler is
upon conviction, you go to Luzira for 3 years. 3 years, and basically that is it.
And the vehicles
forfeited to the state. And the cigarettes for destruction.
To be destroyed.
Because we cannot release them in the market. Yes. If we release in the market, it will be the worst thing to do, because everybody you find will say, these ones I got them recently from your auction.
Yes.
So we cannot.
So we don't auction cigarettes, we destroy them.
These are the cars. Very new cars. But you see they
very sorry about that abrupt break-off. Definitely it was a technical problem, but that has been sorted. Now, once again, the Indians under the umbrella body of Gayatri Parwar have introduced an initiative of going to institutions to teach and train students on poverty eradication. This association has started with Makerere University, where students have been introduced to entrepreneurial skills in order to help them compete in the job market.
Makerere University students have been taught the benefits of having entrepreneur skills. Being a member of the Advisory Council in India, David Pandya has set a precedent for students to put more emphasis on attaining demand-driven skills.
If we live a life of compassion, determination, then even if we don't have external means to sustain ourselves, we would have inner satisfaction. We could have an important legacy for humanity, contributing for the betterment of the world.
Pandya says they are to introduce sustainable projects in Uganda, and they have started on training youth the benefits of having hands-on skills. Dr. Hasmukh Rawal advised the youth to specialize on particular fields in their professions.
We are trying to suggest the youth that why you have to depend on somebody. You can start something small. You can see the Rockefeller, father was billionaire, but he asked his son that you go in the street and sell newspaper.
Being an educationist in India, Dr. Pandya is optimistic that once the youth embrace what they have been taught, the problem of job seeking will be history in the country. Sudat Kaye reporting.
Well, thank you so much for sticking it with us. Now we turn on to the international scene, where the aircraft that came down just after taking off from Boufarik military airport west of Algeria tended to hurt a lot and injured many. Now, an investigation into the cause is underway. Algerian President Abdelaziz has declared 3 days of the national mourning. Most of the dead are army personnel and their families. The defense military kind of explained this. Now, 10 crew members also died in this cause, and a senior member of the ruling FLN party said 26 members of the Polisario Front, an Algerian-backed separatist group in the west of Sahara, were also among the dead. Now, an apology there from Facebook. CEO Mark Zuckerberg began 2 days ago, and a congregational inquisition happened on Tuesday, of course, in the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. He was apologetic about Facebook letting the third-party applications mismanage users' data, but yet daring in proposing that Facebook was ready to improve their data management capabilities, while also making it easy for Facebook users to delete any information they would like to remove off their accounts. We have details.
As a Facebook user, are you willing to give me more control over my data?
Senator, as someone who uses Facebook, I believe that you should have complete control over your data.
Okay. Are you willing to go back and work on giving me a greater right to erase my data?
Senator, I think we already do what you're referring to, but certainly we're always working on trying to make these controls easier.
How much revenue did Facebook earn from the user engagement that resulted from foreign propaganda?
What we do know is that the IRA, the Internet Research Agency, the Russian firm, ran about $100,000 worth of ads. I can't say that we've identified all of the foreign actors who are involved here, so I can't say that that's all of the money, but that is what we have identified. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. And that goes for fake news, for foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
Now, UN is urging the Libyan government to release people who are held behind bars without viable reason and deal with those that have been implicated in tortures and kidnappings. A report has emerged claiming that armed groups, some of whom have government support, have been torturing and killing detainees. Our CGTN partner has got more.
These scars tell of the violence many detainees in Libya face. The UN says thousands of civilians are being held unlawfully, and imprisonment is the least of their worries.
The levels of starvation we were subjected to are unimaginable. We didn't even have a piece of bread. They used to abuse us, taking us outside and whipping us again and again. At night they would take 1 or 2 detainees and torture them.
Killings take place daily. Every single day, people die and are buried. It's like a mass grave.
According to the UN report, at least 37 people bearing signs of torture were admitted to Tripoli hospitals last year. Bodies of those kidnapped by armed groups have also been found on the streets and in rubbish dumps in Benghazi. The UN has evidence of the inhumane conditions at a prison partially run by the Libyan National Army.
We currently are documenting cases of torture, cases of ill treatment, deaths in custody, summary killings, hostage taking, and a range of other very serious human rights violations.
For years, various armed groups have operated unchecked in Libya, with the ongoing political unrest only further empowering them. The UN is now urging authorities to implement the rule of law by releasing anyone held without reason and prosecuting those accused of torture, kidnapping, and executions.
And in sports, Italian outfit AS Roma has caused a major upset in the 2017-2018 UEFA Champions League after overturning a 4-1 first leg defeat by Barcelona and then progressing to the semi-finals of the World Football Club Premier Tournament. Playing the second leg at the home, AS Roma secured a 3-0 victory on the night that ensured they progress on the way and the away goals rule. Goals by Daniel De Rossi, Manolas and Edrin Dzeko were enough for the Italians. In the other quarter-final, Liverpool completed a 5-1 aggregate defeat of Manchester City, and then Manchester City took the early initiative when Gabriel Jesus scored early, but then Mohamed Salah's equalizer and Roberto Firmino's strike completed the home and away victory.
He's on. Brilliant header. This was not meant.
Very, very big upsetting as far as world and international football is concerned, because most people actually thought Barcelona were the favorites there to beat AS Roma, but indeed history was made last evening. Barcelona being ejected by Italian outfit Roma.
Who do you support?
Of course, I was disappointed, to tell you the truth. Barcelona is my team in Spain, and of course in the UK it is Manchester United, the Red Devils.
Everyone wants to hang around the winners.
Exactly. But anyway, that's all we had time for. Thank you for being part of this bulletin. But remember that we looked at the Navy accident victims being airlifted to Kampala, and of course also talking about the fall armyworm that is once again causing havoc in as far as maize plants, maize gardens are concerned. And Patricia, you went
Yes,
abroad.
we did have a lot in business there, skilling some institutions within the country. Of course, the initiative is starting off with universities, and also we did have that apology from the CEO.
Zuckerberg.
Exactly. So we did have a fully packed bulletin.
Thank you so much for having part of this bulletin. I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma.
And I'm Patricia Lukoma.
Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more programs to come your way here on UBC TV.